Hi guys, welcome to Becodewala. I welcome you to the part 3 of our Todo application, and we are building our Todo application using MERN Stack. And in the last part we have built our backend. So you can go and check out on my channel. I have uploaded the backend part in part 1 and part 2. So in the fully descriptive manner I have explained everything from the scratch, and I have given the source code also for the backend part. Now we left with the front end, and on the front end we have to build all this login page and the dashboard and everything. We will build it. So you can go and check out the backend part source code and the video. You can go and get it from the GitHub and give a star on the GitHub repo and give a follow. So here we are going to start with our front end part. So front end, we have to import our folder in our VS Code, right? So here we have imported our front end code in the VS Code, and now we will set up our React. So how to set up your React? So we are going to set up our React using Vite. So Vite is a tool to create your React app very easily. So we have to use this tool, and this tool is very fast. So copy that command we have copy like npm create Vite at the latest, and paste it in your VS Code. And for the more detailing how to set up your React plus TypeScript plus Tailwind, okay, so go and watch that video on my YouTube channel. So you can go and check it, this video, and we will find how to set up React TypeScript plus Tailwind CSS for your application. And here we have to just press dot, we want in this folder only, and framework React, then TypeScript, and after this all this file will be created, but node module will not be there. So we have to install node module using npmi. Everything I have explained in this tutorial, right? Go and watch that video for the quick setup, right? And after that we have to install Tailwind CSS and other packages that we need in our Todo application router. So we are going to install the React router down, right? So here we are on the register page. How we are on the register? Who is redirecting to the register page? When I go to this slash 575173, it will automatically redirect me to login or redirect page. See, it's redirect me to login. Without login you can't access your dashboard. We have to login first, then we will login. And here you can see that all the valid checks are available. Invalid credential, you have to write the in right password, then we will log in to it. So it may take few seconds to install the node modules, and till that let's go and check the React router. So React router, so on React router down we have to install this React router down for the routing for the different pages, right? So you can go and read the official documentation if you want. Here is the full detail about the React router, right? Here click on the docs, we'll go to the docs, we'll see the installation routing module and everything, data navigation, pending UI testing and deploying. Everything is available on the official documentation. And here we have installed our node modules. Now we can run npm run dev, and our project will be running on the 5174. So here you can see that we have set up our Vite plus React, and everything is working totally fine. Now install Tailwind CSS. Go on the Tailwind CSS official website. So here you can see that Tailwind CSS official website. So in this official website we will find how to set up. Click on the get started button. So here you can see that we are going to use using post CSS. Copy this command and paste it in our VS Code terminal, right? So Let's close the server as of now and paste this to install Tailwind CSS, and you can see in the package.json also all the packages that we are going to install. Then in the post css config.mjs we have to copy this and paste this configuration. So we don't have that what is the file of the post css config, so we have to create that post css dot config dot mjs, and in this, sorry, we have added a extra so mjs, so paste that configuration, and after that here in the css we have to import tailwind css. So copy this also and go to source folder. Here we will find index.css and replace all these things with the tailwind css, because we are going to use tailwind css and everything is set up now. And one more thing, like go to the app.tsx and we have to remove all these things, extra things. We will remove all these things, right? And we will create a div, and in this write welcome to Becodewala, and we will write the class name like text red. But when I am writing, I am not getting the tailwind css classes recommendation, right? And not here the box of red box, right? So, and but here when you will run this it will work. Npm run dev. So when you will run this it will work, but the tailwind classes will not be shown to you. You can see that welcome to Becodewala, right? So when we are typing something, it is not recommending the tailwind classes, right? So to fix that, so it is not mentioned in the tailwind css website. Before in the previous version it was there, but I don't know in this the v4 we don't found that command to set up our npx tailwind css init. So npx tailwind css init, so it will create a tailwind config file here, and it will be empty. So here you can see that nothing is set up here, so you have to set up. So this is the command. Here in the content, we in the source file in html.js.config.tsx, all these things I have defined the extension, and now you can see that here you can see that the box has been appear, the red box. And when I will type this font bold, so you can see that all the class has been recommending to me. So all these things I have explained in the that video. You can go and check this for the more detail. Here is the video, you can go and check it out. So we'll remove this, and now we are okay with that, but we have to install all the other things like Redux-Toolkit to manage our store, right? So npm I and at the rate redux.js slash toolkit. So we have to install this. Then what are the things we have to install other than this? So you can see the redux.js toolkit we have installed. Then axios, npm I axios to fetch the data from the backend. Then we can use lucid react. Once we set up right, so it will be very easy. So setup is also very easy, so don't worry. And here we can install react redux, and then we can install here lucid react for the icons that we'll use in our project, and react redux to manage our store, and the toolkit so to build our store in a very easy manner with a few lines of code, right? And a react router DOM. So you can see that when we try to go on the other page, so it may redirect to register login. We have used protected route, how to build the routes, how to register go on the other routes, right? All these things we have to build using react router DOM. And that's it for this, and we have to install all these things only. So we have done with our package.json, and we will build our, first of all, what we have to build. So let's build our the sign up page. So in sign up page, so we have to create a folder, right? So in that folder we will build a name pages, right? So all these pages. So sign up page, how to create the sign up page. So first we will need components folder, components, and in this components folder, right, we have to build the navbar, protected out, and cart. We can remove the this, what is this called, the logo. And why is showing error? We have removed that logo, right, where we are using logo in our application. So let me run this again. Yeah, now it's working totally fine, right? So here we have created pages. So in this we'll create all the pages like register page, dashboard page, login page, profile page, right? So we will start with the register page, start.tsx, right? So let me close all this, and to show our register page we have to import in this. So let's import register page. Later we will set up all this routing and all. First we will create our UI, right? Register, and from where we have to import. So let's me create RAFC. So it's a shortcut to create our component, functional component. Here we have imported register page, right? And now we can see the results on our whatever we will write, like hello from register page. And let's go and check. So this is our 5174, and it is not showing. Why it is not showing? Let me go to the console. Here we have deleted our main.tsx, right? So we have to create our main.tsx. So in src file only main.tsx. So we have deleted our main.tsx, that's why it's showing the error. So we have to create the main. So this is by default it will come when you create the app using Vite, and no need to create by your own. I have deleted mistakenly. So here you can see that hello from register page. So I have just deleted the main.tsx. So don't worry, I have created once again. So let's set up our register page. So in the register page you can see that, let's go and check the previous. So here we have a background color and the heading, create your account, then a message, anything you type, any error it will be there, it will show. Then we have a 4 fields, full name, email address, password, and the button to create account. Then we have another text. If you have already account, it will redirect me to the login page, right? So first we will create our register page, right? So to create our register page, let's import the all the necessary thing that we need in our. So we need our React. Then we can import here also the use state, right, to manage our user type email name and everything. Then here we can create, so import like use navigate to navigate to the different route, right? And the link tag to create. So we use anchor tag in the HTML, right? So here to navigate to the different routes we use link tag, right, to link to the other pages, right? And import use selector and use dispatch, right, from the store, but we have not created our store yet, so we will see that later. And let's create another. So import axios error from the axios, so any error will be there, it will find the error also. And we have main work to show the UI, right? And later we will add all the functionalities. So const name, so here we are going to use create our state. So initially our name input will be empty, right? Here is the initial dependency is the state variable and the state function to set the user type text. And here we can create another state to track our email. Then we have another state for the password, then confirm password, and then password error. So suppose any password error will be there, we'll write that also. So password error equal to set password error. Then we are not using dispatch as of now, so we will not write that part, and we will write the other functionality later. So after that we have to go and return some JSX so that we can see our login page on the UI, right? So to show the login page on the UI, we have created a div class, right? So now we have to create another thing. So another div, and in this div we have to create another div and h2 tag, and here in the h2 tag we will mention, right, h2 tag, and in this create your account. So this create your account, you can see that this create your account, right? This text we have to show. So here inside see that it is showing, but we have to style. So first we will start with the parent div. So minimum height screen, so it will take the height of this screen on your device. So minimum height screen. Then we'll write the flex, and item we will make it center, right? Then we can write like justify center. Then at the dark class we have to write like bg gray 900, and otherwise here in the padding we have to show from the y12, and for the x direction we can write padding 4, and small devices we can write padding x6, and large devices we can write padding x8, right? So all these things, so let's see our, so you can see that it is not taking the full width, right? So let's fix that. So here we have a app.css, right? We have a index.css, so we are not going to use app.css, we are using tailwind css, right? So we'll remove that, and now we will see. So we have to remove other imports also, and app.tsx we have to remove app.css because we are not using these index.css. Okay, now let's refresh. Yeah, so we have fixed this. So because of that app.css, so we are using tailwind css in our index.css. So we are using only one file, right? In our index.css, tailwind css we have imported. So we not need custom css, we have to use the tailwind classes here, and it will work totally fine. So we have fixed that also. So max width md for the responsiveness, and we'll write width full, then space we can write like space y, in the y like 8, right? And let's style this also. So we can write, we can just remove this, so y8, and we not need to style that div also, it will work fine for the 2 days only. So this is for the creating a separate box, and margin top 6, and we can write text center, so that text should be in the center, right? And let's, why not, we can see our output on the screen also. So let me see, you can see that the real time results you can see on my right side of my browser. And let me make it little big so that you can see the code. And let's write text 3xl, and we can write like font extra bold, right? And we can write text gray 900, and at the dark class we have to use text white. And all the themes and all these things we will fix it later if we got any issue, right? So you can see that the create account is fixed right now. So like here you can see that the create account. So now we have to create this form field, right? So let's create the form field. So out of this div we have to create a form field. So let's create our form field with the form tag, right? And in this form tag, let me make it good, and in this we can write like class name. So here we'll style this first, our form tag margin from top 8, then text we can make center, and we can write like not text center, we can write like just a space we can give it, because this is a form, right? Not a text space y6, and this is okay, right? And on submit we can write any function, but we are not writing our functionality as of now, right? So we will not write that, we are just building UI, later we will write the functionality here. If any error will come, we'll write everything, but we will write later. So here we will left with the error part, error, right? And here let's create our div, and in this div we can write like another div, and in this we can write input tag. So type text, let me make it very clear. Let me format document so it will look nice. Yeah, type text, then what other things we can define in the input, like type text required, so we need this field, we can't leave this field empty, right? And value we can provide the name, that the name variable, we have a state variable that we created, right? So that whatever the user will type, that will get that text and set it here. And on change we can write e dot target dot value, means whatever the user will type, this function will set to this variable name, and this name will show the value in our input. And then we can write the class name. So here we can write the class name appearance none, then the rounded. So you can see that the how beautiful it has been created. See, input box, right? It is not like the same, but we have created the input box. It doesn't matter to create the same. And we can, if you want, we can type the same style also, right? So here my AI is recommending this, and you can see that how beautiful it input has been created. So we can create like this, or we can create like this, like in the previous one, right? Then in the placeholder you can see that to write the placeholder full name. So here it will say full name, you can see that. So similarly we have to create other inputs also, right? And here we have not style our this div. So class name rounded md shadow small and space from the y, right? Let's create our email. So let's copy this div, copy and paste it here, right? So here we have a, but here it will be type email, right? And here we have to take the value of the email value, set name not set email, and the style will be same. And here not full name, here we can write email address. So now we can see that it is looking good, right? And here you can see that the border is not proper match, so we can do little bit styling on. We don't want the roundness of the border on the top, so we can just write a small css code and it will be fixed. And similarly we have to create other things. So let me close this terminal as of now, and let me format document, right? And after the email address, what we have password. So we can similarly we can create the password, right? So I'll just copy and paste it here. So password, so type, just define the type password, right? Then value will be password. This password state we have created top on our this the password, you can see that password confirm password email, right? So all these things we have already created on the top. So and here we define minimum length 6, means we have to write the at least 6-digit password, right? And after that, in this after the form we have a button also, right? The button create account. So to create that button, what we can write, like we can create a div, separate div. So create a div for the everything, so it will be in a beautiful manner. And here we can write style the button type submit. So we are going to submit our button, so here I define the type submit. Then disable when it will be loading, right? But loading we have not created yet, right? So we will not write it here. So we have not written our loading because we have not written our state, right? So we'll write the functionality later let's build our UI first, and here we can write like the styling of our button. So class name, group, relative, width full, justify and all. And if it is loading, it will show. If it is loading, we can show creating account, and if it is not loading, it will just show create account. So that custom here, let me fix this first, the spelling, create. So here you can see that it is showing create area. When we click on this, it will say creating account when it is creating our account in our database. So that custom text we will change with the help of loading. So that loading variable we will create after the UI build, right? And here below this we have another thing like already have a account, right? So we can write for that also. So out of this div we can create another div, and in the div we can write class name text center, and in this we can use the link tag. So suppose anybody is clicking on this, so it is redirect into the login page. You can see that we are on the login page, right? So we use link tag, not the anchor tag, right? Link tag, we are using react router, right? And here we have to define the part 2 where we want to go, slash login, and this slash login which will be in the double quotation. You can write in the double quotation login. So when but anybody will click, and this link should be imported, so must import this link from the react router. So here I think it has been already imported from the react router. You can see that. So link login, and here we can write already have an account. You can click on the sign in button, and here we can define the class also, like font medium, text indigo 600 and all this. If your account we can sign in, and it will show error because we are not created our routing, right? So it will show a error. So you can see that the base name use context. So this will give a error because of this link tag, right? So we can comment it out, right? As of now we have commented out because we are not writing functionality, and we can see that here the text will show when we will build our link and react router down everything, right? So let's comment it for as of now, and when other user you can see that the field is required, right? So this all these things, and let's create our sign up page, sorry, sign in page. And here we have a two fields, email and password, so it will be very easy to create that also. So here in the pages, new file, create login.tsx and rfce, so it will create react error function. And in the login page, to show our login page, we have to show here also, right? This is the main folder, app folder, and in this app folder we have to import our login. So login pages we have import, then only it will show. So let's comment it for as of now. Hello from login page. So we have seen that how we have built our register page. Similarly we can build our login page, and this you can see that the hello from the login page component, that we have imported in our app.tsx, right? So similarly we'll create our login page also. So create our login page using React. So here we'll write user state to track the state of our input values, right? And here we can similarly import link use navigate from the React auto DOM. Then we can import the Axios error that we will see it later, store and everything. And after that we can create the state. To track the state we can create the email, set email to track the email, then password on the login page. Then after that the error message whatever, so that we will see it later. And let's build the UI first. So in the UI what we have to show, so in this div we can write another div like similar, and that in the last one we have defined the height, screen background, right, padding. We will copy and the paste the same style here also, class name, and we will paste it here. And you can see that it's changed the background, right? And the same max width full, right? Same styling we are using, the same styling that we define in our register page. That same styling, you can pause the video and write the code. Here in this div we can write like h2 tag, and in this h2 tag we have to write the sign in your account, the heading text, right? When we go on this sign in your account, and we have to style this. So similarly that we have a style for our like register page, we have to style like for our login page also. Same thing, just the two input field we have to change, right? And similarly out of this div we can create another div, right? And in this div we can write form tag like we have did before, right? And here we can write class name, margin top 8, space y8. We can write 6 also as of your need. And here we can write another div, and here we will write error message. So here we will write the error message later. Let's build our UI first div, and in this div we have to write like rounded. We have to write class here, right? Class name rounded shadow md, right? And space y. And here we can write another thing, same styling I am doing for this also, that we have did in the previous register page, right? Input type text, right? Then we can define the class name, right, for the styling, and value equal to email and all these things. So let me copy and paste. So you can see that email required, value email and all these things. And here it's showing not in the column wise, it is showing in the row wise. So why it is showing like this? So let me fix that. Minimum height screen margin. Oh, sorry. Here we have missed one div. So we created separate div for the h2 tag, like we are creating the div for the other tag, right? And then we have to create this form tag, copy, cut this form tag. And after this is the parent, the two divs, the parent is so possible that we define, right? Now it will show because we have missed that one div. Here you can see that before this empty div, because we have to create a container, and so that we can place container according to our parents in the column wise, right? So that's the issue. So we have fixed that, and let's build our password. So here we can write the password field also, right? The same thing like value equal to password, that state variable we have defined, it is required field. Then how it will set the user type password in this, so it will set using set password. This is the function that we define in the above the user state. And similarly we have a button also. So let me copy this button div. So this is the div, I will copy and I will show you. So this is the button, and this loading state we have not created it, so we will remove this, we'll remove this disable also, so it will show error, so it will remove the full. So we can write login, right? And after that we can create a link tag, right? So this link tag will, here it will not work because we have not created these routes and all, we are not set up with dispatch and all. So we will comment it out as of now. Div, let's comment. So now it's okay. So login page is similar like this, and this account don't have account, this will not, will fix this later when we write all the functionality. Let me format the document. I can see that the styling, right? So this how we have styled our login page and sign up page, right? So we will create our store, and in we have created a store in our src folder, like we created the pages and component. So in this folder, store folder, we'll create a slice folder. So in this all the slices will be there. So what do we mean by slice? So we create slice to manage the authentication and the state related, like the we are using the task slice, right, to maintain the state and the theme, right? For the theme we can use that, and to maintain the state through the central of our app, and we have to store our data on the central of our app, like we can use context also. But redux toolkit is a very high performing, and it help in a very configuration, and it has a very more methods to create your centralized and scalable slices, right? And there we can store our data easily and manage in our react applet. It is created mainly especially for our react. So we are going to use redux toolkit, and instead of use context, and here we can create our auth slice. So in the auth slice we'll create a state related to the feature, and a reducer to update that state, and the action that trigger those reducer. And why we are using auth slice, like centralized auth state, like a state management, easier to testing and cleaner components. So let's build our auth slice. So here in the slice folder we'll create a new folder, auth slice dot ts, not tsx. So in the auth slice we can, and here one more file like task slice dot ts, right? And store we can write index dot ts, right? Index, not index, index. Here we will combine all our slice. After creating all the slice we can combine all slice in the index.ts, right? Here we can add theme slice.ts. So first we'll start with the auth slice ts. See, in the auth slice ts we can import first, like create slice. So how we can going to create our slice using create slice, create slice, create slice, and from where it is coming from, redux toolkit, create slice. And after this we can import like create thunk. So create async thunk, we are going to create async and not sync, async, so it will help in the fetching the data from our localhost server and the deployment also. So when you deploy that time also it will help in the fetching the data. So create slice, to create our slice, and the create async thunk to fetch the data from the our API, and here import axios, so that axios that we have installed, right, axios to fetch the data for the different method. And before that we have to create a interface. So we define the type in our TypeScript, we are using the TypeScript. So it is very easy to use TypeScript, so must use, so that it will not show error in our application, and it will maintain the type safety. And here you can see that user has an email ID, right, it has a ID and the name, right. So we can define the type, and type should be of string. Then we can define another interface for the auth state. So we have to maintain the auth state when the user logged in, right. So user, and if user is there it will show a user, otherwise not. And we have to go is authenticated or not, so it will store in the boolean. So boolean it will be false, but we have to not using, we are just using loading boolean, and the error will be string and the null, right. So we have defined the auth state, and after the defining auth state, let's create our initial state. So what will be in our initial state? So initial state will of the type auth state, right. Initial state will be the auth state, initial, if user is there in the store or not. So when we user is login, it will keep the user data on the Redux store, right. So I was telling that when user logged in, so it has created the user, and in the local storage you can see that in the local storage we have saved the user information like ID, name, and the email, you can see that. So this name and ID, email we will access from this, and we will store in our Redux store, and then whenever we need that, this all these things we can use it in throughout our application. We can store in the central place. Here local storage is not our central place, so we can store there, and we can fetch the data. So how can we can fetch the user data? Like from the local storage. So local storage dot get item user. So what we have to get the user, the name is user. So here in the, here we can see that the name is user that we are setting when we are creating through the backend, right. And we have given the name user, right. If it's there, then we have to pass that json dot parse the local storage get item. So we have to pass that, otherwise it will be null. So we have to pass that data from the local storage, and then it will use that data whenever we need in our application. So this how we are finding the user data from our local storage and setting our initial state in our Redux store. And within using a Redux store, we can verify the user throughout the all the functionality and the pages in our application. So now we will create our async trunk. So how to create? First we will export const login equal to create thunk. So this is a function in our Redux store to fetch the data and perform the async operation. And here we can define auth slash login. So this is the action that we are going to perform here. So After that we have to create a async to fetch the data from the backend. So when the user will log in, so we will ask the user like email comma password. So password, and it has a type also, right? The password will have a type also. So when user is typing some email password that is type of string, then we have to get that email password and we have to log in. So when we log in, we'll get some data from the backend in the response. If you given the correct credentials dot post, so we are using post with the axios to fetch the data, and here we are using template literal, and here we are using our backend URL, so not API. The name is backend, right? So in our .env we have defined our backend URL here, thus localhost 5000. Here our current, like, the backend server is running, and from this auth login, so while we are creating our controllers, right, in the routes in the backend, we are using slash auth login slash auth register, right, with the email password. We are passing the email password. And one most important thing, when we have created, like, when the user is login, so we have to set some data from the our browser also, from the cookies. So we have to create with credential, so that it will send the cookies data for the server for the proper authentication, right? And after this, when we got the data, right, suppose we got the data, we have to set in the local storage. When the user is login, so we have to set in the local storage. I return the user data. So local storage dot set item to set the data with the name user, and it will, that whatever data will be there, so we'll just directly save that data in the local storage. Like here we have set our with the user ID, name and email. When the user will log in, from the response, the ID and the name and the email will come, that will set in the local storage, right? And after that we have to return that data so that we can use in our front end. Now similarly, we have to create for register const export. We have to export also, export const register, and here we are using create things. So this is the best way to fetch the data from your backend. And here we can write like auth register, right? Here auth register, this is the action. Then here we are using async name, email and password from the user, right? And the user is registering it, and it is of type string. Then here when we are using async await, so axios.post, so we have used the post in our, like, in the backend while writing controller, right? So user is sending some data to the backend, and so that's why we are using post. And here backend URL that we define in our .env, our backend is running on the 5000, and the auth register, this is the path, and this email name, email, password, and here with credential to send the cookies data to the server for the authentication. And here we can see that here the local storage set item, so when we got the user data, we have to save in the local storage, right? And here we can return the data. Then after the register, we have to create the logout. So when user will click on logout, it should log out, right? So here similarly we have defined the action like auth logout. Then here we are using async, right? Async, and here in the async we have created the xus.post, and here similarly we have passed the path like API auth logout. But here I will show you in the backend what we have written. So let's go to the backend. Let's check the route first, that we are writing the correct route. Here we have a user route. So here register. Okay, so in the server what we are writing, so let's open our server. So API users, not auth. So here we are writing the wrong path. So API, here we have to write API. Otherwise, here you can also write API, and that is the common part, right? But here also you can define as your needs. So users. So write the correct path that we define in the backend. API users logout, right? Here also API users. API users register. Here also API users login, right? And here we are not, when we are log out, we are not sending some any data, right? In the backend we are defined like in the request body we are not sending some data when the user is logged out, right? So here after this we are setting the removing the user. Here we are not setting the user. When the user is logged, we are removing the user. Remove item. So local storage dot remove item to remove the this user from the local storage, right? So this is how we can create our async thunk in our Redux store, right? Then after that we have a update for file. So when user is updating the for file, so we have to export also, export const like update profile, and here we have to write our thunk for the update for file, right? So let me write similarly. Here is the action that we have defined. The action, first we define the action auth update profile, right? Then we are in the async we are getting the name, email, password, but we are not changing our email. Image is not changeable. And in the profile, and the user is logged in, so we are changing the password only and the name. So current password and the new password. Current password. See, AI can give you some wrong suggestion also. So please check properly if you are using AI assistant. So current password, here we can also pass the current password, and here we can write new password. So here we have passed the current password, new password, right? And we are updating this, right? Name and type of string, all these things. And here we can check like if optional, we can write option, because user may write not only string, he can write the number also, he or she, right? So here when the user is updating, we are using post http method and API users profile, and this is the path, and here we are taking the current password from the user what the user is typed, and here we are typing new password from the user, and with credentials, so we are passing the cookies and authorization header. This is the most important part for the secure authentication. Here the when we are updating the right user, we have to set that updated user in our local storage, right? So here storing and returning data, right? So this how we can write the update for file. Just a small changes, right? Here the we have to update the action, then what are the input we are taking, and what is the http method, what is the path, right? Here credential, that is important, then we are setting the user, returning the data. So this is how we can create the different async thing for our Redux store. Right now we can create the slices. So slices is like a global store for the different store action. So when we perform some action, it has created some slice the data and store in the central place. So create a slice. We have created the thing, we have to create a slice. So how to create a slice? Using create slice that we have imported right from the Redux-Toolkit. And here we have to pass the name of the slice. Name of the slice is auth. This is the name of the slice. Then we have to pass the initial state that we have created above. The initial state, what is the data is in the initial. And here we can define reducers, not reducer, reducers, right? And here we can pass empty, and here we'll write the extra reducer. This is the main important part. And here we pass the builder. So what we are going to build, so like builder dot then add case. So we'll build an a case like login pending, and let me fix this first. So here if login is pending, right, if user is not logged out, right, is sorry, if user is not logged in, so when that time will show a state dot loading true and a state dot error null. So when the user will the pending set, see some when we learn about promises, it has like pending, state, rejected or fulfilled. So similarly it has a three state like pending, then here like fulfilled. So this is the fulfill state. So state and must use dot. So login dot fulfill, a dot already we have used, right? So I showing here, let me add the full code. So loading will be false and the state user equal to action dot payload. So when the action will be fulfilled, then we'll set the user right action, we perform some action dot payload and error null. So as of now no need of this, and loading will be false. Here we are passing the state and action, right? And after that let's see another parts why it's showing error, do not find add name, add case. So we have to pass the dot, right? And here also we can pass here dot add case, login dot pending, state, state loading true, false no. Oh, we have to remove this comma, don't add comma, because it is linked with this builder, right? So we have written two state as of now, pending, fulfilled. What is this? If our if pending, then show loading true and error null. If it is fulfilled, then show the state loading false and the set the action on the user. And then if it is rejected, so what we will do? So suppose our action is rejected, so in this pass we just pass the state, right? Or we have to take action also, so we have to pass the action. And so when the it rejected, and that time we can write like state loading false. So that time it will not was, then it will show error, right? And login failed, this message, right? Then after that we have to write another case. So this is for the login. So we have a three state: pending, fulfilled, rejected. So we have to write similarly. So it is a very beautiful way to write the code. So must write your Redux store in this way. This is the professional way to write, and it is very helpful to handling the errors and maintaining the code. So here we can write like add case for the register, fulfilled, and the if it is rejected. So you can see that it has written, my AI assistant is writing the whole code. The same code we have to repeat, same. Then we have to, after this we have to write for logout. So logout we have to fulfill, not a pending. So we have to write fulfill. So we have only one state, just we are clicking, we are not sending some request from the body, right? We are just fulfilling the state with the fulfill and state, and that time the we have to set our state dot user equal to null. So that time user will not be there, user data will not there, means user had it log out, right? So let's create another like update profile. So when pending the state, right, when pending state loading true and the set is a null, then we have a fulfill. So if it is fulfill we have to set the user, right? So here if it is rejected it will show profile update failed, right? And after that we have completed our the slice creation, and with the auth slice we have to export also, export auth slice dot reducer. So we have to export this slice also, right? This auth slice that we have created, the name auth slice dot reducer, not reducer. So after this we can write the other slice also, right? And here in this file we will combine all the slice that we created so that we can use in our project. So this is for the creation of the Redux store slice, right? Similarly we can write the task slice also, right? So should we create the task slice? So let's create the task slice also. So we can create all the store. It is very easy to create. So let's create this first. So create slice comma, then we can import create async thunk. We have to import from the Redux-Toolkit, then import Axios, then we have to define the type for the task. So when we are performing some task, so that time we have some input field like title, description, right? So let me type of the string description, like, and priority that we define in our like in the backend. So I'll just copy that. So in the backend we have defined, right, our like when the task is created it will have a user ID, it has a ID in the MongoDB database. Then we have a title of the task, then the description of the task, then the priority means low, medium and high, what is the priority of the task, then the status of the task and the due date, right? So all this we have to define the types. Here is the string, and here we are using enum, right? You know, all these things are same as we defined in the backend, right? Once you define we can reuse the same thing here also. So no need to worry. So interface task state loading boolean, and string will be either string or null, right? And this task will be array of tasks, so that's why we are using array. So not only one task, user can create multiple tasks. So here we can define the initial state type. So interface initial state, and what will be in the initial state, it will be task state. right? And here we can write our task loading false and the error will be null. So why it is showing error? Because we are not creating interface, we are creating our initial state, right? So here we define the initial state and the type is the task state is the type, this is the type, right? And after that in the task we have a multiple task, right? So we have to store in our here how we can store in our Redux store with this naming convention loading false error null, and in this name we have to store all the our data of the task. Then we can create the thing to fetch the task. First we will fetch the task, right? How we are going to fetch the task? So export, like we have created in the before, we have to create a thunk, the async thunk, that is the action that we have defined the fetch time. This is the action name. So this action name we have to define, right? Then after the way we are performing async operation, right? And when we are fetching, like we are fetching, we are on the dashboard, we are showing, we are not creating tasks, so we no need some input, right, from the request body, right? So no need to give some input here. Then just we are fetching we access.get from the backend API backend URL and the API task, so it will get all the tasks with the condition with the who the user is login, that user can get the data of the all the task. So after that we can write like export create task. So how we can create the task? So we have to get that data from the task, right? Export const create task, then this async thing, this the function will create perform some action on our backend API URL, and here is the name of the action, and here we are performing the async task, and here you can see that we are using omit. What is the meaning of omit? So omit is a used in the TypeScript, which is like suppose here we have created this task, the task, this is the task interface, and we don't want the this in our like in the input, because user is not this id is creating in the database, right? We don't want this. So we should we create another like another interface, or we can use this only? So to use this same state, the same type, we have to use the omit, and whatever the things we want to remove we can write it like from the task interface we don't want this id underscore id, so we can write omit. So that's why omit is used. So we don't write id and other things we want. Other things what is there, title, description, priority, status and due date, right? This is the TypeScript thing, right? So this is most important thing in the TypeScript. And here when we get the task from the user, so we have to that task we have to send to the this URL backend API task, right? That URL we have defined in our backend, and then with credentials, so it will pass the cookies that where JWT token is stored for the authenticated user and return the data. So it will show the response like the your task has been created. Now how can we update the task? Similarly same thing we have to use. Here we have to change just the name of the action, then thunk function, right? And here as we are when we are updating this time you notice, so when we are updating we are not updating our id. So when the user is creating task, the user should not update the id, right? So here we have to write something like this. So id comma task, right? We have defined this. Then we can define the type here like id string. So suppose I want to update, we have multiple tasks the user has created, but user want to update only one task, so that one task has a id that we create automatically created in the MongoDB database. so that with a specific id we want to update our task, right? So we have to use that id. And what we have to update? Partial task. So partial, so why we are the partial? This is partial coming from the TypeScript. So here we don't want to update the all input field in the task, so we want some few things in our, like we don't want to update the id. The id is unique, we can't update it, we should not update it. So we are using the partial, the means we are updating the few input fields only when we are updating our task, right? And here we are using put method, means it will update the task. So here we have to create one more thing, like const update task, right? Update task, and it will fetch the previous task. So the previous task data, right? What is the, using a spread operator we can fetch the previous task data. And status, we can define the task.status, and here as pending or completed, right? So here updated task data is coming here, and here we have written the wrong spelling. Update, updated task. So updated task, it will take the previous data, and status will be the pending and completed. And here we can, that the data we have to return. How we can return? Like on the backend API task with the task id, we can see that we have passed the id, but here we are using id, not task id, right? So we can clearly define here id. No need to write tasks underscore id, right? Because we are using directly here id, right, from the task that we define on the top. So TypeScript very helpful, right? So here API task id with the id, and here we what thing we want to update? Updated task. So here we pass the updated task. This is the updated task, right? And updated task, yeah. So this is the name, updated task, that we had passed. So what we want to pass? Status as pending, it will pass that and the previous data, right? So this will take as a, what are the things we want to update, right? And here we can pass more things, we can customize here more, but as your need we can, you can customize here. And after that, with the, with this specific id only the task will update. We can't update the multiple tasks at a time, right? We are updating the one task at a time, and when updating, it show the response by the backend that your task has been updated and show the data on the UI. So how to delete the task? So similarly we have to create a thing with the name delete task, then here the action delete task, right? And here we can pass the id of type string, which task we want to delete. We don't, suppose user has to delete multiple tasks, one task, and don't delete multiple tasks, right? So user should click on the specific task, that task only should delete, not the other task. So with that specific id, right, each task id specific id, with that id we have to delete that task. So we are using the await, and here we are using the delete and delete http method. And here we are using the backend API task with the id. Here pass parameter as id, that when we are writing our controller in the backend, right, we are use the same path like API task slash id means with the id parameter. So we have to delete that task that has a specific id that we want to delete and return id, right? So that task will be deleted. Then after that we have to, let's create the slices. So after creating thunk we can create the slices, and in the slices we can write name of the slice is task. Then in initial state we have to pass reducer empty, and extra reducer we have to write. So in this, like similarly, we can write the builder, and here we can write the, you can see that it is recommending all these things. So builder dot add case fetch task dot pending, this fetch task that we have created, right? Fetch, how to fetch the task. So this fetch task, right? And is the pending state, so it is loading true and the state is the null. Then if it is fulfilled, then we have to perform action, that task we have to show in the Redux store and show in the UI, right? And here we have to, if it is rejected, then it will show a error message. And similarly we can write for the create task, task is pending fulfilled, like we can write loading and all these things. But if you don't want, we can remove this create task pending and create task rejected, so it will work fine without this. Also create fulfill state dot action, and here we can remove the, we don't need all this extra thing, we can keep our code minimize. And here state dot task dot push, we have to push the task action dot payload. So we are creating something, right? And we are showing on the here, that's why we have to push that action payload, what are the action user is performing, right? To store the data in our Redux store. And here update task pending, right? So here also we don't need pending state and rejected. If you want you can write, but without this also it will work. So update task rejected state I will remove, delete, and let me fix this. Delete task rejected state. Then here when we are updating the task, right, fulfill action, how we are going to update the task, we have to find the index first. Here we can remove the loading state, no need. Here we can pass the index, right? We have to find the index, j.task.find index, right? How we can find the index? If the task we want to delete, right, the task id that is present in database from our Redux store, so we have to match the task, that one task we want to delete should match in the database. So if id is matched, if id is matched, then what we can do? So we can do like, and here when passing if index not equal to -1, then only we can update that task with that index, state dot task index equal to action dot payload, right? So here we have performed the check, not equal to -1, right? Then after that here we can add delete task fulfilled. If it is fulfilled, how we can delete the task? So to delete the task we need id this time also. So we are using filter. So what this filter does, right? Task equal to task.id, that task is in the database, and the action that performed from the Redux store, right? So if it is task is met, then not equal to that, then we will collect the remaining data and show in the review and remove the that specific id task that we want to delete, and it will be removed, it will be filtered out. So we can use the filter here, and after that we can export also. Export task slice dot reducer, this task slice that we have created, and we can import in our index.ts and we can combine and we can use it. So similarly we can create the theme slice also, right? So theme slice is very easy. So let me create this also. I will finish off with the store, and remaining thing we will see in the next part, but in this part we'll complete with the store. So let's import create slice from the Redux toolkit. Then after that we no need to create a async thunk and all, because we are not fetching API call, we are just creating our theme that we want to use theme on or in the global storage, right? So we are not using, like we have already used the Redux toolkit, so no need to use just it here. Also we can use this dark is dark boolean, right? Here is it dark or not, yes or no. So const initial state, so what will be in the initial state is dark. If it is dark, so local storage dot get item theme equal to dark, so theme should be in the dark, right? And here we can remove all these things and no need of these things. So here we can just type initial state like is dark local storage dot theme equal to the theme that we stored here. I'll show you the theme. You can see that the dark, so here it will get from there, so it will show the dark mode. And const we can write like theme slice, we can create the slice. We are not creating async thunk because we are not fetching any data, right? Just it's a simple what is called the theme. that the theme is the name of the slice initial state and reducer. And here you can write in the reducers like toggle theme, it will get the state is dark not equal to state is dark. Then if it is not in dark mode, it will toggle set the item theme and state is not dark. If it is dark means it will set the state equal to dark, otherwise it will set the dark not dark, it will set the light if state is not dark. So this is the toggle theme, so it will toggle on user click and it will update the state in our Redux slices, right? So here we can export also. So after this we have to export theme slice dot actions, and we have to export the reducer also. So this toggle theme, that all the action that we perform on this theme slice, that action will store in the toggle theme, so that this function will toggle the theme. And the here we can import this reducer, right, to perform the action, right? And in index.ts we can combine all these things, all the slices. So we will configure here. So how to configure all these slices, right? So we can use configure store from the Redux toolkit, import like auth reducer. So auth reducer from the slice task reducer theme reducer, and we can dispatch this action so that we can create a like custom hook so that we can use anywhere in our any component. Import is dispatch, we have to dispatch some action. So my dispatch is dispatch, so we have to import like this in the curly brace, use dispatch from the react redux, use dispatch. And here export configure store, and here we can configure a reducer, not reducers, reducer, right? And keep careful with the naming convention, auth reducer task theme reducer. So we are storing in this name task slice and theme, all these reducers, and we have to export the root state that present the state and shape of the like entire Redux store. So we can define the root state return type of get store, and then we can app dispatch is the type for the dispatch function in our Redux store. So here we can define here also, and then we create a custom hook to use the type dispatch function whole in all our component that wherever we need this. So all these things are done. So we have completed our restore, and now we can fetch the data. We can do every functionality will remain with the some functionality. We will fix that also. So we'll create the remaining thing in the next part. So hope you guys like the front end part. So thanks for watching. We'll meet in next part with the new amazing concept and the new functionality. So thanks for watching. Meet in next video.